Oh.
Hello and welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show. It's Monday night. Wherever you are across the globe, you have joined us as we talk about Formula One and GT7. And as always, my committed guest, it is Edward Beer, other known
Certified as an
as
American
Andrew
Century One.
Marr. Welcome tonight, Andrew. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody.
It is good
I'm
to see
okay.
you.
I'm all right. Still alive. Apparently, that's good.
Now, you might be watching on
So-
Facebook or on YouTube or on X or Twitter, so it's great to see you. Please bring your comments fast and furiously as we'll try and answer them. Simon, Jerry. Simon, we will get you on the show as well soon. That would be great to have you on. Welcome to the show. Well, what an incredible weekend it has been. It was a great Grand Prix, to be fair. I was able to watch the whole thing live.
No.
And I really enjoyed it, I have to say. I was quite surprised because the thing is, I had to turn it off as soon as the result was done, and I didn't know that George Russell had been disqualified until a few hours later when I went back
I didn't know
onto
until
the news.
Yeah, afterwards. I didn't know till afterwards.
Simon's saying he's
You
still
know,
not
when you
been
get these
invited. We'll
comments
have
like-
to send him an invite. We'll have to send you an invite. And Timikin, good to see you. We are very good here too, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. So we got two big subjects because we've got, this is the first
Helen.
week.
Hello,
Helen, good to see you, Helen. We've got the physics. This is the first week of the new races with Gran Turismo 7's new physics.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we're excited about that. And also I did a video on Saturday all about that. I said about 70 views, which is not bad
You
going
did.
for one of our ones. I think it was a very honest review.
Yeah, the review was great. Of course, you had to do. It's traditional for you to mispronounce at least one thing in any single given video. The Eger Mountain, the very famous Eger Mountain in Switzerland.
I think I called it Eiger Nordband or something.
You did not. You called it Eger. That's why I corrected you.
Oh well.
You called it
Greasy.
Eger. It is Eiger. It is Eiger.
Greasy Sam Squatch is here. I did actually send you an invite. If you're about, you're welcome to join us. I did send you a StreamYard. Yes, you can. You're more than welcome to come and join us.
Can I just show you this quick clip so I can get it out of the way? So this is
absolutely.
just. I mean, you've mentioned the physics. Let's just do this quick Formula One farce.
Yes,
it's
one of your favourite clips from what happened yesterday. We can share it now. I've got another very funny video as well to show you.
Just a tiny little thing.
With the advances of StreamYard, we can now.
I'm not going to bother with the audio. It's just going to be.
The okay, so I will add to the stage.
It's only a few seconds. Are you ready? So this is the latest. We are rubbish, but we got really cool cameras that are pointless in Formula One. Are you ready? Let's.
We are ready to go.
Ready? You ready?
Yep.
Oh, yes, of course you're doing that. You ready? Watch.
Yes.
So that
went
was
upside down.
Had a lot of point, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's span. It's like a machine. I mean, what the Formula One? Because it spins. Because no, just no.
Yeah. That it is quite funny. It is annoying. I saw that in the pit stop, and they spin it round in circles. It does actually make you feel slightly dizzy as you watch it. It's not just our age.
You're trying to watch the pit stop. It's almost like someone's gone, right, you know, we've got this television coverage of this race, and it's the biggest thing in the world. It's like millions and millions of people watch it. They want to see what's going on. What can we do to stop that happening?
Oh, they missed huge amounts.
The helmet cam, which is basically you can't see anything. They go, "Oh, it's so cool! You can see exactly what the drivers can see." I don't want to see what the drivers can see. I want to see everything.
A steady cam, a
steady cam.
Yeah.
They zoom in, so you know when they come around the bus stop chicane, and they're coming at you down the. Hello.
Here we go.
Hello.
I will. Let's introduce.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's introduce Greasy. Greasy, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
What's going on? I finally made it. I don't have the kids. I got some free time. I was like, I get in there.
I'll keep sending you invites and hoping that one of those days will work and you're always welcome to join us. That is a very impressive background there of pictures and model cars.
That's my Lego Technic there.
Oh, Lego Technic. Oh, my son will like that.
That stuff.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Nice
Oh, it's,
picture as well. Nice photo.
yes, in the back there.
There
That's
it
a
is.
McLaren and a Ferrari.
My
Green
mom
Panther,
painted
is it?
that one actually. My mom painted.
Oh, it's a
that one from-
painting.
Wow.
Actually,
Oh, that's
I'm
excellent.
doing a giveaway this August of the actual original
Oh, wow.
picture of it there. I don't know if you get that on
Yeah,
camera
yeah,
there.
yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's what
That
she
is-
copied it off of. But yeah,
Cool.
that thing, that's a painting. That thing's priceless. That's not going anywhere.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Oh, that's really good. Well,
If I
welcome
just do
along.
this, you
You
I
can see
have
the. Oh, you've got a
that from
Ooh.
that era.
Very nice. Very
McLaren
nice.
Mercedes.
And
Yeah.
then
I got the Senna
one.
one over here, the Lego Senna over here too.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Well,
that
it's
is
the Home
that
Office.
is good, isn't it? No, it's the.
Oh, look, it
That's-
even comes with the little the Lego Senna guy with the helmet and everything.
Oh, wow, that's
That's
amazing.
pretty
I
cool.
never knew they made them. I think I'm going to have to try and find that because my son loves Lego. Well, he's into the kind of Ninjago Lego.
Yeah,
everything's
that's
Ninjago in
my
its own-
youngest.
You can't beat
loves
Lego
the
Star Wars.
Ninjago.
Yeah,
Lego
well, we
Star
had
Wars
Star
is my
Wars
favourite.
young, and then I've still got a bucket of it at my mum's house, so it's still there. So
Backer. Pulling the arms off of other people. It's in the game. It's just superb. My son used to play it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
look at this, Dad. That's superb.
So it's great that Gracie can join us as this is one of our big events tonight because we've got two huge stories really. The Belgian Grand Prix, which was a bit of a cracker to be fair.
Yeah,
I thought
it was a
it
good
was
race.
pretty good fun.
Very unusual.
Yeah, and we've also got the new GT7 races with the new physics.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about those new physics yet. I'm still on the fence on things.
I was
Well, no,
quite
that's
excited.
great.
I did my thing. I did my little thing, which I had very positive feedback on. And,
Yeah.
Simon saying, that's what we want to see.
Yep. No,
He's just calling me
that's,
hunky. What do you mean, fat? Yeah.
I'll quickly
and
put a
then
message out to everyone.
I decided I got quite excited and was laughing my arse off going around what Hugh likes to call the Eager Mountain.
Well, my pronunciation is terrible.
Well, I even
But,
did it. Eiger Nordwald. It's the north wall of the Eiger. That's what. Anyway, and I thought that was pretty good. There wasn't a lot of feedback, but the grip. It felt like the tires were sticky, and then if you go on to, I was too chicken to go onto comfort tires, but I went down to sports softs, and they were okay. Normally it's like woohoo, but no, they were gripping fine. And then yesterday and the day before, I tried to have another go just to see what it was like. After watching your review, Hugh, I thought I'll give it another go.
Yeah.
Where can I go? I'll go around my favourite track, the Nordschleife, in a car that I've driven around there many, many, many times. The Honda S2000, souped up to about 408 horsepower. Racing softs on it, and it was practically undrivable.
That's not fine. There's some cars that are just not really drivable in the game. For me, it's the Porsche GR3. I've driven that thing so much, and I've got into the last few times, and it feels like it doesn't stop bouncing. It just feels like your shocks are constantly going up and down and up and down. It's really weird. And the whole thing with the feedback with the DDs, you had to really.
These are ones that I've tuned so that I can drive them, in the old physics. So they've got race suspension on it, lowered them, and Nordschleife I put it a bit higher and a little bit softer because it's bouncy, play around with it and try and get. So I had several times and I couldn't get round 5 corners. It was just like, well, hey, so I fiddled with it a bit, thinking, okay, physics has changed. Let's see what I can do. No, made no difference. Hated it.
Well, the thing I noticed was in the I love the time trials. That's one of the main things I do on GT7. And there's 2 new time trials. Now, I did manage to get a gold time on the Ferrari at Tokyo Expressway after a bit of work. I managed to get that by a few tenths just about in there. But the times come down again quite a lot. But it was in the one at Eager Nordwand, whatever you call it, that new one, the new circuit that Andrew will correct me on. That one, when in the Subaru, was just about impossible.
Switzerland. It's the only one.
It's because I could do the first. I actually put Tidgeney's Ghost on to try and follow him to see if I could get anywhere near. I could kind of keep up for about the first maybe 3 corners, and then he just drove away after the hairpin. But it's when you come along to that long right-hand bend at the bottom of the circuit, and he kind of skids into it, he kind of broadsides it in, and then he kind of manages to get away. For me, it was a snap oversteer, and whatever you did, you couldn't correct it. If you tried to back off a little bit to try and control the slide, it just immediately kind of understeered straight, or it would just snap the other way, and then you'd accelerate, and of course you'd end up with too much of a slide trying to go out up the hill. So I was always about, I'm about 6/10 away now from goals, because it's now down to like a 104.5, which is really, really quick. And I'm like a 105.2. So in fact, I'm 7/10 off it. So yeah, so what do you think, Grizzy? Have you tried that time trial? Do you do the
I have
time
not
trials?
tried that time trial yet, but I was just today running around practicing on Mount Panorama for the stream tomorrow just to see what it would be like. And I managed in the Supra. I did a, what was it, a 201.5 or 201.4 or something like that. But
Yeah.
I still haven't found the right settings with the wheel. When we did the update, I had no force feedback or anything. So I had to do the update driver 457, like Digit was saying, did all that. But I've almost got all my force feedback maxed out. In game, it's on 10, and on the wheel, it's 100%. And it still feels really light to me for some reason. So I don't know what the thing is with that. So I'm not fully comfortable with my
and
wheel
you've got
with it yet.
a Fanatec as well. I've just got a G29, so it's not that.
See, I've heard the G29s from my chat. I've heard the G29s and the Thrustmaster wheels came to life, and they feel way more feedback through them and all sorts of stuff. That's what my feedback was from my chat. But with mine, I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know.
I've read that there's some serious problems with the Fanatec wheels in this update. There's some kind of firmware issue where they're
very well could be, because yes. As soon as I did the update, it got into the game, and it was just like a toy. It was like there's nothing on it. It was just like that. You just no feedback at all whatsoever. And then people did some research in chat and said, do this driver update, did that, and then put these settings on, and it still doesn't feel quite right to me for some reason. But I don't know. Gran Turismo, you probably can't get too used to this this physics, because they may change
it back. Yeah, they'll probably change it back, isn't
it? In one of the reviews I was watching, somebody was saying that they're going to bring out a 1.5.
Yeah, well, they have to do a few things to fix the rocket ship Elon Musk engine swap, the Samba bus or whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
I keep seeing videos of that thing just shooting to the moon or whatever. But yeah, who knows what they're going to do?
It's quite funny, isn't it? Well, I've got the Logitech G923 wheel. And it seems to be the worst of all sides. I think it feels more rubbery than anything else, and
that's no good.
It's just it's funny because it's actually better on the console for ACC than it is on GT7. In fact, pretty much all the other games are better than GT7. It just doesn't seem to work for it at all. I think the G29 that I had before was actually better in terms of how it kind of got into the game, and how much it was easier to drive. It felt more progressive. And you kind of felt more feel to it as well. But it's interesting. So yeah, let's get your take then, Grizzy, because I know you've done. Did you stream earlier today?
No, I did not today. I had the kids today. Today's transfer day for the kids, and my oldest had badminton camp this morning, so I had to drop him off and do that. And then I hung out with the little one, and then dropped him off at his mom's later. So that's how I'm able to get on here now.
Yeah. Oh well, it's great to have you on the show. I actually had done a little bit of GT7 this morning to have a look at the races. I managed to get actually quite a reasonable time. I was 40th in the world at one point on race A in the Alfa Romeo 8C. But it is a handful. It is.
Yeah, I watched Tidney's video on that one. That thing looked like a slidey, monstrous mess of a race.
It was horrible.
And,
nice. Well, and I know in real life it is supposed to be a bit of a. It does broadside a bit, it does, but it did have traction, and it was supposed to be reasonable. But in this, it's heavy, and it was understeer and oversteer. So you've got to be so careful about it. But I think it's like this game, you've got to drive it in a particular way. I mean, all credit to Tidney, because he can get these quick times out of nowhere straight away, isn't it? Every week
he's very talented.
Yeah, within a minute or two, he's got these incredible times. But he knows how to drive it, because when I watched his review, I thought, God, he's got everything that I don't have, and the skills of this being. He just knows where to take the track. He knows which line to take and how to get the car settled. So he does do a brilliant run. And he does it properly. He doesn't, hit the barriers or bounce. He doesn't go excessive track limits or anything like that. He's very clean the way that he does it. But I did actually manage to get. I think he did a 49.7, and I did a 50.4 in there. So it's not too bad.
That's not
too bad.
Yeah, I think the new physics is a lot about the weight transfer of the car. You really have to pay attention to it. When I was messing around on Mount Panorama there, going through the corners, if you really it's so hard to feel the car through the wheel, though. That's the thing. You almost have to imagine it kind of settle in, and then you can get on it. Because as soon as you start doing too many things at once, like braking and turning at the same time, the game is not like that anymore. And even if you do get away with it, your tires are going to be done.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's what people talk about, the muscle memory, don't you? About trying to remember how it feels, so you kind of get a knack for doing it every lap. But I find that very difficult because you're not really getting a feel for how the corners are.
You can't get used to the feeling. If it's
sometimes I noticed with this new update where you turn in and it almost feels like you have zero feedback through the corner, and then you come out of it and all of a sudden it's there and you're trying to catch up to it. It's weird. But well, I haven't given enough of a fair shake though to give it my
I think it's going to take a lot of hours worth to really kind of get into it and see if it's how it goes. I know that Timichin was saying that he's on, because you're on a controller. Timichin's on a controller, and he was saying he's had to adjust some of the controller settings just to be able to play
it. Too, hey?
Yeah, that's going to be really hard because I think the game.
A couple of things on the controller and it felt a bit better, but still driving is not that fun. It's not that fun as what it was. It takes time to get a feeling. So.
It's really interesting how people are split on this one, because there's a lot of people that are not liking it at all and like moving away to like ACC stuff like that, and there's others that are saying, "Oh, this is just going to get the Sunday racers out of the game, and the true racers will figure out this physics and continue on." Seen a few comments like that online where just split down the middle.
I mean, the thing that got me was I'd done quite a critical video on Saturday about it all, because I was really annoyed. I was fed up because I thought I can't get this time trial, and I just when you're frustrated when you try. I mean, I did it for hours. I must have spent about 2.5 hours, and I did it with ghosts and without ghosts. And I thought, no, it's just not working. And yet, then I went on and did the Friday one, and I managed to get it. And I think, well, it can't be that bad if I can get some of them, but just not others. So there's a knack to it. But when I did the lap this morning, and I managed to get that line, and it kind of worked, and I thought, oh, maybe there is something here in this game that is actually working now. It's just a matter of, can you clinch the kind of game habits of how to drive it. But
I noticed in that time trial with the Subaru, there's a lot of short shifting going on in that one. A lot of short shifting, like going up like 2 gears, coming out of corners in fourth, but getting the rotation in low gear. I noticed that on who was doing. I can't remember who put that video out on that.
Right,
somebody was really rotating it though.
yeah, because I noticed that some of them. I was watching Susie Q as well, and she got a really good time. And that was the thing. She was going up the gears, coming out the corners, and it was getting a bit better grip. But I tried that, and I was a little bit quicker, but I was still quite a bit off. I just don't. It's that last corner at the bottom that I lose all the time on, and also the second last kind of right-hander is quite tricky. So I'll just have to. I'm getting loads of silvers. I can't do my gold videos anymore because I'm not getting gold.
Can't even get bronze anymore.
I gotta give that one a time trial. I only tried it on last Friday, where I did the Friday Fun Factory, just the open lobbies with people, and we picked the Miata Roadsters around there. Those were a lot of fun around there. With
they're good.
Yeah, that's one of my rear-wheel drive favorites. I actually went to the S2000 because I was trying to go. I'd made the Miata, or MX-5 as it's known over here, as fast as I could make it, and it handled beautifully. It sounded nice, just wasn't powerful enough. So I went to the S2000 to be like similar sort of idea, but another 100 or something horsepower.
Mazdas around there, they were a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're really good.
Chassis. I mean, in real life, they got a beautiful chassis. They really have.
Oh yeah, I've seen some great videos.
That was the first car magazine I bought in 1989, 90.
Yes,
car magazine. Yeah. Actually, car magazine, and the main story was the launch of the Mazda MX-5 Miata, the TVR S4, the BMW Z1, and what was the other one? How many is that? 1, 2, 3. There were 4. Brain's gone. And a fourth one, which wasn't the S2000. But it was like a group test of all those. So it's like the very first. And they were talking about basically that Mazda got a Lotus Elan and went, right, let's make this so it doesn't break. But let's just make this.
Yeah, those things are.
That's what they
I'd love
did.
to have one of those. Well, every car thing you ever watch, they say if you're a true car guy, you have to have a Miata sometime in your life, right? That's what they say. An MX-5. That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Chris Harris, all of them.
Yeah, no, it is
But
quite
it's
a great car.
delicate. It's just a delicate chassis, and it's not overpowered. You know,
No,
Yeah.
it's just
not
just the
overpowered.
perfect amount of power, rear-wheel drive, and fun. That's all it is.
But yeah, no, I remember actually going on a test drive in one. It would have been about 2008. It was like they just brought out the new generation, and I took it on a nice crisp frosty morning to a road quite near. It was just on the east coast, and didn't have traction control or any of that. And they'd given me the car for a few hours, and I remember driving it and thinking, "Wow, this is great fun." But it was quite dodgy. You had to watch it on the little wet corners. That it was kind of, you could have a great slide, but it was a lovely road. It was a road to North Berwick actually, from the A1. So it was a lot of fun, and it's a great car. Of course, it's an iconic car now, isn't it? Because they still, I think they left not putting in traction control till literally till the EU laws kind of required it. So it literally had no kind of safety aids at all, other than an airbag. And that was
They race those things in the winter here on frozen lakes and stuff. They put big spike tires on the back of those things and rip them around.
Oh, but that's sort of a drifting that around.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Well, the spikes on these things are like, they have different class. They have lug tires and spike tires, and the spike tire ones, they rip that ice apart. They go pretty good. You'd be surprised.
Well, no, because I'm a Saab fan, and I used to watch quite a few videos of Eric Carlson. There was when the very original.
I'm on stream. I'm live. I can't talk.
Went downhill. People stopped. What used to be a half-an-hour program on like a Thursday night on BBC Two, and it was a proper car magazine show. Jeremy Clarkson happened to be on it. Didn't like him, but and they started going downhill. And Channel 4 in this country, they had Driven, which it disappeared, but it became very, very popular, and it was great because you had a rally driver, Jason Plato, who's a British touring car multiple champion, and Mike Brewer, if you've ever seen that car. So that's where Mike Brewer started. It was those three, and they did an hour-long Saab special. So you get this Mike Brewer, he's on this big lake, as I'm sure you're used to, where you're from. I think you're Canadian, aren't you?
Yeah, Alberta.
Yeah, so you're used to big lakes with ice all over them in the middle of winter. So is Sweden. And that's where they were testing the Saabs. And this doddering old man with big thick glasses comes along, gets in the car, and Mike Brewer sat there thinking, what? This is going to be a bit crap. But this is Eric Carlson, multiple world rally champion, and the husband to Pat Moss, Sterling Moss's sister, who's a multiple rally winning legend as well. And he took this, 74 years old, he took this car around this lake. Mike Brewer's like, holding on. It's like, yeah.
Oh, it's quite a thing.
Brewer, shut up.
It is quite.
But yeah, spike tires, and then the ice racing. Have you seen the ice racing they do up there? When they get these mad, they're almost like Group B rally cars.
Yep.
Like little Micras and all this kind of stuff with a big engine in the back and the four-wheel drive.
That's
crazy.
So much fun. So much fun driving. My first time ever when I think I was 17, had an 87 Jetta GL, and we were out at my cabin. And we heard rumors that there was an ice track somewhere on the other end of the lake. So we drove all the way across the lake to find it. No winter tires, no spikes, just hitting e-brakes at 120, trying to keep it straight.
My goodness.
Absolute blast. Sunroof open, windows open, just in case.
Yeah, so you can climb out. Yeah, exactly.
You're talking like with the ice road truckers when they go down.
It's quite a thing. We've got DTR and Serenity have joined us as well. It's good to see you all. Please post in the comments for your questions as well for Grizzy, as it's Grizzy's first time on the show. So I'm sure we'll get some questions for you as well. But no, it's great. Good. At least we're able to tonight, especially with all the new races going on in GT7 and all this kind of stuff. We can definitely digress into lots of different topics, I'm sure.
Well, you've got a film to show, haven't you?
I've got a very funny. Yes, I did an AI challenge, an F1 AI challenge today, because someone gave me some software that you could use to make a video, and I thought, let's do a 2024 Belgium Formula One Grand Prix review. So I'll show you that a little bit later on. So we'll see how that goes, because it is quite funny, and I will say right now, it is not accurate in any way or form. Whatever it states is completely untrue. But it is quite funny the way that they do it. So we will show that a little bit later on. Now, here's a question for you. Hopefully the sound, by the way, is working. I do have now, my broadband's been upgraded, but I think my daughter is playing music and it's probably sucking all the energy and all the internet out of that in her Alexa, whatever it might be.
About 500 megabits per second should be fine.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. They say it can take a couple of days for it to kind of sort itself out, but we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. But in today's races, there are 2 Group 3 races and combinations. What do you think of that? Because I'll start with you, Greasy, because you're obviously very good at Group 3, and we've got it at Bathurst. But I do like the Bathurst track, and also we've got it for race B. What's your opinion on that?
I think they're really testing these GR3s out in this new physics update to see what people are thinking with the short sprint race with minimal tire wear or whatever, and then the longer ones. Really curious. I think that's what they're doing, because they've had so much split on I don't like it, I like it. Like the GR4s felt fine. The GR3s, there's some of them that drive really well. Some of them that drive a little weird. Like that Supra is on another level now. That thing's a rocket ship.
Yeah, they've done something with the BOP. I was watching Rory Alexander's.
I think I did 178 mile an hour at the end of the straightaway.
He was saying the Supra is now like
it's another level. Yeah.
That is the Group 3.
I think Disney even said it's another category of car almost now.
Yeah.
Aren't they sponsored by Toyota though? Aren't they like?
That's what usually happens. But it usually happens when it's like getting to that World Tour time. They like bump the Supra up, and then it usually takes off, and then they nerf it back down for the exhibition seasons, and they bump it back up. But this one's a little different. The Supra hasn't been up there in the World Tour that much, so
they
killed the Porsche, in my opinion, though.
We've been asked, Greasy, to have your link for your YouTube channel. So I don't know if you're able to get that for us, but feel free to put it in the comments.
I could try. I'm terrible with computers. I'm lucky I even got this working. So
we can give it a
or
go.
If anyone else has got it there, just put it in the comments.
Squanch. Type that into YouTube. You'll find me.
Because you're welcome to pop that into the comments.
Actually, you know what? I could probably do it on my phone a lot easier. Hold up. I'll get it in there.
Let me find it's not that one. It's that one.
So there's lots of new cars as well. I mean, I have to admit, the sound from that Subaru Impreza, the Colin McRae rally car that's there in the time trial, does sound great. And it's a wonderfully iconic car to drive. But it would be nice to maybe put it on dirt tyres, and they could have had that at one of like the Sardinia rally track, or one of that kind of rally cross tracks that they have. That might have been more suitable. And Ian is saying the Porsche has been neffed, so it must have been nerfed. I think.
I think they added weight to it and took some power away from it. It doesn't. The power is not the thing that bothers me with the Porsche. It's like it's that bouncy feeling. It's got this weird. And he was even talking about when he was practicing for that last Manu race.
There you go.
So the Porsche feels weird. It just like it has this weird bouncy feeling. It's so hard to describe it. It feels like when your shocks go out in your car and you let there and you just sit there.
It's like what they had in F1. Right? It's like what they've done. We know they had that problem.
Porpoising,
the porpoising,
yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Going like this.
Pinnacle of motor racing. I'm Zebedee from Magic Roundabout.
I've got that by and when I drive my service bus around town, there's one that bounces about a bit more. But no, it is. It is.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a good run tomorrow. I'm going to be doing Bathurst tomorrow for stream, so I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to start off with the Supra and then just let chat pick whatever they want to kill me with. Usually it's like a Lamborghini or something. So they like to see me drive the struggle bus. So that's the motto on the channel. I drive them so you don't have to.
I liked there was what was that, the rally, the weekly races. They had one with on is it Fisherman's Ranch, the dirt circuit.
And
I love rallying, and I'm just so bad at it.
I have a hard time with the rally in this game since my thumb surgeries. I have pretty weak hands now, so the formula cars and rally and stuff like that, like I could do it, but I'd take an absolute beating.
Maybe if I had either the GT Pro, which has got extra paddles, I can set to be handbrake, or if I had like a handbrake, it may be, but I'd still have to put a lot of practice in to be any good at it. Anyway, I just got so sick and tired of being rubbish. I've got what do they call it? I call it the Alpha Turd, the Toyota Alpha Hard, whatever it is. Well, it's basically a Toyota Previa with four-wheel drive and a 560 horsepower V6 engine in the front. So I just decided to use that. It was really funny. It's hilarious.
Did I see somebody was doing a stream yesterday rallying?
Well, I love if you put the Volvo 240 Estate on dirt tires and take it around Sardinia and these other ones, the dirt tracks. They're brilliant. It's great fun, actually.
That's one thing I think they need more in the game is more wagons. We need the RS6, the RS4 wagon. I'm a wagon guy in real life, so I want some wagons.
Yeah, Fisherman's Man. Oh, all those kind of cars are really good. I did it a few weeks ago. I remember saying I think Gran Turismo also needs to introduce like classic awful cars. Like we need the bad cars. We need like the Lada Rivas. We need like the
There's a Citroen that looks like a bug. It's like almost like a wagon. It's got weird headlights.
2CV. It's got
I don't even know. I've only ever seen one in the city. We don't get any of those here.
DS3, the DS, not the DS3, the DS.
Oh yeah, the DS
Goddess, the original, one of the most advanced cars, a 1950s car, swiveling headlights. It had. It was one of the most advanced, incredibly engineered cars.
Simon's got it.
Citroen was
the Austin Allegro.
Oh, don't swear.
We need the Allegro, the Marina, the Lada Riva. We need all the cars that were so awful.
Don't need an Allegro.
Oh yeah, I think it would be fantastic.
I've driven an Allegro, and it was an estate car wagon to you.
But the Allegro, and it had a square wheel.
Man.
That's now all the thing.
5-speed. It had 5-speed. I nearly crashed it because it was like the third week of me learning how to drive.
I mean, let's face it, they're not going to have to pay to get the rights to it because Austin's dead and finished. So there'd be
no, you're wrong.
Huh?
Well, it's owned by the Chinese, isn't it?
Well, that's MG.
Yeah, but didn't they buy the whole lot? Because Austin Rover MG was one company.
Yeah.
BMW got all the other names that were in.
We could have the Montegos as well and Maestros.
You guys get way more cool cars than we get here. We don't get any of the.
Oh yes, the European cars. Well, you had like big cars though in Canada. You got Cadillacs and Mustangs.
Where I'm from is big trucks everywhere.
You can't. You imagine a Cadillac trying to get through that snow. I mean, come on.
I worked with a guy years ago that drove a Lamborghini Gallardo in the wintertime.
Wow.
At least that's four-wheel drive.
He spent like 15 grand or 20 grand on winter tires and rims.
But Lamborghini have brought out the Huracan for driving around fields.
Yeah, what the hell is that thing called? Yeah,
that thing's crazy. Or
Mark McCann bought one of those things and he was ripping it around.
Harry's garage, Harry Metcalf, he drove it around and he loved it. We need a Cadillac hypercar.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, 2.8 injection or 280 with their limited slip diff at the last run of 1,000, the 280. Yeah, 60 horsepower. Back in the days when American V8s were making 170.
Yeah.
5.7 litre V8, 170 horsepower. But they never broke. They just kept going forever because,
One of the first times I went to Florida, I rented a Pontiac Grand Prix. I thought, yes, that sounds like a really great
ugly
machine.
car, isn't it? Is that the one that was a funny front end?
Pontiac, I don't know.
It was pretty bad.
My sister's first car was a Pontiac Sunfire. Go look up one of those things.
A Pontiac Sunfire. Oh, I've not heard of that.
Listen, we have the technology here. This is what's
they're terrible little things.
It was, but yes,
that thing lasted forever though. That thing lasted all through med school, all the way up through, and then she finally got rid of it. Muffler hanging off the bottom of it.
I think, GT7 needs more. If it wants to bring the fun back to the game, it needs
an ugly car.
Bad cars to make it. Can you make them good? Can you make them any good by changing the tires? Have you? Can you show it to us on screen? Have you got the clip? Or not?
I don't know if people want to see that. It's pretty bad. They're pretty bad cars.
Oh, we like terrible cars.
There you go.
We like.
This is what the
Google's
Brave is saying the Pontiac Sunfire is. Which one of those?
Look at that beast right there. Then it even came with a GT version too.
Oh, Grand Tourer.
It's just a spicy little vehicle, that thing.
I miss the big police cars that used to be on the Hill Street Blues.
Well, now they've got Dodge Chargers and things.
15 miles wide.
All the cops here drive Ford Explorer SUVs.
Yeah, I see them with the big nudge bars on the front,
Yeah.
don't they?
Oh
And
yeah, they
they're-
got some big bars on the front of them now.
yeah, and they just smack into things if they need to stop anybody, which is quite impressive. At one point, we got smart cars for the police in the UK. You know, like the mini smart cars, the smart watch cars. You know, that was the same company that made the watches, and then they went to Mercedes Benz and made the cars, and they made these tiny little smart cars,
now, the
and they used them as police cars, and that. So they went about 40
where
miles
you
an hour.
are up there.
No, in the cities. In the cities, they put them in some of the cities, and that. But yeah, and then they have diesel Astras. So diesel Vauxhall Astras, which were not very
that's what
fast.
they had on Top Gear, wasn't it? When
But,
they were trying to match.
The criminals just drove away, and you know,
just laughing.
You know, it was a thing. But,
the best police cars were when they had either the Rover SD1 V8, the Vitesse. That was an excellent police car. As long as it didn't fall apart as you drove along, if it was working, it was an excellent car. My personal favourite of mine were the old Senators, 24-valve Senators. I nearly bought one of those for £500. Manual gearbox, all the electrics stripped out so it was light as possible, 204 horsepower, which for back in those days wasn't bad at all. And
now you get the plain Jane car. It's a 4-cylinder with 400 horsepower. It's crazy the power that these new cars
engineering's gone nuts, isn't it? It's gone nuts.
I just fixed my car. I have a 2007 Audi wagon and had an engine light on for a while. I've been a mechanic for a long time, so an engine light is like, meh, whatever, right? The thing felt so slow. It's so slow. And then I scanned the engine light and I got the code and I was like, oh, it probably needs this. There's a boost controller that I need. There's a little diaphragm that was ripped in it. So I put that in the other day. Now this thing's got all the power. It's like a brand new car again. It's great.
It's Saab, okay, because I had four Saab 9000s in a row. The last true Saab, as opposed to some weird illegitimate child of an Opel and a Saab. Anyway, don't start me on that. But if you got the low pressure turbo, 2.3 turbo, it had I think it was 170 horsepower, but it was torquey. You know, it didn't have much lag on it. Wonderful. The aero version was more like 230 horsepower, but it was a bit laggy because it had a Garrett T35 turbo instead of a Garrett T25 turbo.
Oh, okay.
But because I was in all the groups, you get a 10mm spanner and you get the wastegate and it's got a spring and you tighten it. And if you've got a boost gauge, you use that until the engine management system starts, because they invented the engine management system, the Trionic engine management system that everybody copied afterwards, starts retarding the ignition. Then you back it off a little bit and you get 200 horsepower with practically no lag.
I had a boss that had one of those things. I worked at a detail factory. It's called the Detail Factory, and I was 17. I had to drive a customer. He said, take my car. And it was one of those Saab 2.3s, I think it was, turbo. And he's like, yeah, take my car, whatever. I dropped the customer off. I'm like, I'm 17. I've never really driven many turbo cars. And I launched that thing, went to grab second gear, and the shifter knob came off in my hand. I threw it in the back seat, grabbed third. And then I pulled into the shop, and my manager knew exactly what I was going to do. And he knew exactly how that shifter knob was going to come off. And he's like, so how was it? And I was kind of like heart racing. He's like, oh, it was pretty good. Your shifter knob came off, though. And he's like, yeah, that only happens when you do a real hard shift to first to second. I was just like, yeah. I had to pull it out of the back seat.
So that happened to my FSO Polonaise. This is the famous on this show, the FSO Polonaise, especially when John's on it, because we like to take the mick out of it. That's a car should definitely have on GT7. They did a rally car version of it. Remember, we looked it up that time. Yeah, a little 1500. It's loosely based. Fiat went around putting factories in communist countries for a long time. That's where you get the Larders, FSO, Yugos.
Oh yeah, that's
where's the Cossack come from? That's like a little
that's
SUV,
Russia,
right?
That's the Lada Niva Cossack.
We used to have those at our zoo here. That was our zoo vehicles. They were striped like zebras.
Good
off-road.
They were actually really
they were good off-road, but
very, very low compression engine. You could put any old crap in it, you know, chopped up straw, anything you want in the petrol tank, and it would just work, you know, because it had to. In the middle of Russia, the doors fell off.
You just kept going,
you know. So, but no, that the FSO, I love that. But the gear knob used to come off. My ex-father-in-law, he actually decided.
But they weren't cheap. I mean, they were literally £3,000 new, or £3,500 new.
He bought two, one for my wife and one for her sister, and together they were both 2 years old. Together they cost less than £1,500.
Wow. Yeah, that's a cheap.
It's a long time ago.
I think I spent that on the car and an oil change and the few parts that I put on it yesterday.
Oh goodness! Yeah, no, it's quite.
It did the job. It was fine. It was a bit of fun. It had no rear grip. I mean, the perfect drifting car. Whee! And it was going so slow when it happened, you didn't really crash. You're just like, yay, just steer into it. So that was good. But it had really soft bumpers. You could, so if you have a parking problem, there was sort of a mostly hard but deformable foam rubber. So you could push other cars out of the way and it wouldn't make a mark on them. It's fantastic. And it was made out of weapons grade armour. It was so thick. That thing was so heavy. So I reckon that if I could just put like a turret on it and a gun, I could have sold it back to Poland as a tank. Made a bit of a profit. But what was it?
Well, of course, now that they've abandoned shipping all these great, like for Audi, for all their kind of S series cars, because they're making EVs, but their EVs have basically bankrupted them. Volkswagen
has a lot of manufacturers are getting away from the EVs now.
Yeah, the EV. I think Volkswagen had to basically stop most of their production because they had one go on fire that ended up sinking a boat. So, seeing a whole kind of.
Oh yeah, I saw that the batteries got wet, and Elon made a poke at them. They're like, "Oh, I made my batteries waterproof."
It's quite a thing. But so they're costing them billions.
I saw a thing with those EVs too, where the guardrails, all the guardrails in North America and stuff like that, they're not capable of stopping one of those heavy, low center of gravity EV vehicles. They just go straight through them.
Yeah.
So and then there's a lot of stuff they didn't think of with those EVs.
And I've seen so many little bits of footage of one's hit a lamppost or something and burst into flames. And of course, it's electric, so it won't. It's too clever to let you just get out of a car mechanically. A computer has to do it for you. Yeah. You hit something, the computer's going, "Oh, I'm dead."
Those things scare me. They scare me.
That's my only thing with the Tesla. Everything's linked to your phone.
Have you ever seen a lithium polymer battery from an RC car light on fire? You want to sit on one?
No, I've seen it. I've seen it. This is what some of these bits of footage were like. But there was one. I looked for it again to play to Hugh, but I couldn't find it for some reason. It was footage of them testing it, and they had a guy. He had a hard hat on.
Is that the one where he drops it into the water?
In the water, yeah. But first he hits it. It's like, and then he runs, presses the button, it goes in the water, and it's. Because it doesn't go out,
somebody was. I think they were maybe certainly injured or if not killed. They took their battery out of even just an electric bike or electric scooter, and they jumped in. They were going into their flat, and they took the elevator, and the thing exploded when they were in the elevator. And of course, he's already moving, so he can't get out. And then that was it. So it's pretty shocking how these things are just going up in smoke, and that. But you have to be really careful.
Of course, they talk about that. Don't dig up coal. Have you seen the process for extracting lithium? Well, that's not even talking about cobalt mines. Kids digging it out and being beaten in Africa.
I've got
a real problem with that.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's hit that point where now even the governments realise they're not going to make this work, and people have had enough.
Well, hasn't Toyota said they're not doing it anymore?
They're not. I think Audi said it as well too. I want to say Audi said it. There's a bunch of them that are all getting together and just being like, no, we're not. What is it, 2035? They want everything electric or something.
Yeah, they're basically bust. If they continue on this way, the only manufacturers they'll have will be in China. There won't be anything in Europe. And in America as well, it will be very similar because they've got quite stringent targets that they're trying to aim for. That it's just not. That's why the milk floats never took off. You used to get your milk delivered with a man with a milk float.
Yeah, they worked great,
but they were fine for that, but not for someone that needs a 400-mile return trip.
And also, the milk float allowed us to have one of the funniest TV programs ever made, Father Ted's Speed 3.
Yeah, that was.
Look it up. Honestly, it's one of the
funniest things you ever see.
When the milk float goes over 4 miles per hour, the bomb will arm. If it goes 4 miles per hour,
it is very good. That's definitely British humour. That
you're going over 4 miles an hour. Leave me alone, Ted.
It was very good. Right. Shall we head to F1 and shall I show you what AI can do? And just to let everybody, just to be sure, I am not backing any of this. Was it?
Morning, Mrs. Gleason. Those ladies were in the nip.
You know. Neil's joined us as well. Good to see you, Neil. I know he's on holiday somewhere nice and warm, but it's good to see you, Neil. I hope you're well. Knight, we're going to show my F1 video. Give me 2 seconds. I will.
Do your thing there, Howie.
Right, this is
that didn't know the 2024 Belgium GP would blow our minds. Let's dive in. Spa-Francorchamps delivered the goods this year. Right from the start, we saw jaw-dropping overtakes and heart-stopping near misses. First up, Verstappen's insane precision at Eau Rouge left everyone gasping. How does he make it look so easy?
It's not even the right track.
Move on Leclerc? Pure genius. But it wasn't just the big names stealing the spotlight.
Silverstone.
Rookie sensation Liam Lawson pulled off a stunning pass on Norris.
Liam Lawson?
He
got fired.
Not to mention the electrifying duel between Sainz and Perez. Sparks literally flew.
To be fair, there was one bit I could see those in the what the hell?
Halfway through the race,
it's in a random touring car.
Every second round. And who could forget the dramatic final lap where Alonso snatched P3 from Russell? Unbelievable. The 2024 Belgium Grand Prix is one for the history books.
Single seat of
because the season's just picking up. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Did you guys see the first race of the AI-powered race cars?
Oh no, I didn't see
You
that.
need to look that up. That is some funny shit right there.
Is this the Sophia one? Or
they look like they're just like Formula one. They look like Formula cars, and they're all
a real race.
Oh yeah, a real race, but they're like. There was one clip that I saw where one car kind of just went off the track by itself and it stopped, and the other ones were under yellow, and they just decided, no, this is too unsafe. They just stopped in the middle of the track and waited. There's cars pulling off on their own. Oh yeah, it was. AI's got some ways to go before they start doing that.
Honestly, we want to keep it like that because that would be a whole new Terminator movie. That would.
Well, that's exactly it. We're laughing at it now until one day we'll laugh at that and some drone will come from the sky and take us out.
It's just a pity that Mel Brooks is dead because I think he'd produced that film of the Terminator or something, AI Terminator, where all the robots sort of go, no, it's not safe, and they just sit in a corner.
It is
like Marvin. Marvin, the paranoid android, is their boss.
Well, that's one from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
In the Hitchhiker's Guide's book, I'm going to say 3, where they stopping the robots of cricket, and they take Marvin, plug him into the main computer, and all the robots that are going around destroying the universe just decide that they haven't got the energy anymore and they're too depressed. They're literally all sitting there going, I can't be bothered. Love those books. So good.
That's the thing. Right, F1. We are now that you've seen what AI cannot do in terms of trying to do. And to be fair, it's only wanted me. It said put as much description as you can, and I simply say do a 2024 Belgian Grand Prix review, and that was it. So that's where it's taken from there. But no, it is quite funny. But it was actually a very good race. And to be fair, I thought obviously Russell had got it because when he took the checkered flag, I turned it off and thinking that's fine. And then about a few hours later,
to be fair, so did he. Yeah. To be fair, so did he. He didn't get to the end of the race thinking, "No, I haven't won."
I saw something posted where they said that being 1.5 or 1.2 kgs down on weight,
one and a half.
Distance, it was worth something like 2.5 seconds or something like that.
In the whole,
if you did a perfect lap every lap or whatever, they said it was like 2.5 second advantage.
Yeah. But then they reckon they may have been caused because they don't have a slowdown lap at Spa. They can't pick up all the wee bits that might add a little bit of weight.
Switched to a one-stopper.
Yeah.
He was going to be doing a two-stopper.
So it could have been the board. So... The board underneath could have been...
they showed pictures of his tires after the race, and there's no marbles like you would normally see picked up on them. Yeah,
because they sort of do a U-ey. They go in the back way and do a U-ey, don't they?
Oh, that's what they do. Oh,
they don't go around the whole track like a normal.
I don't know why they do that, because it wouldn't be that long.
Because it's 1 billion miles long, and they're all...
But you think, if you've paid your money for your ticket, you'd quite like to see the winner come through and give them a cheer as they
it's
go
like
past.
if you pay for Sky Sports F1, you'd like to see the cars instead of such a
little clip of
tiny little zoom of a wheel nut going past and go, oh, what a brilliant overtake. And you're like, is it? I don't know, because you can't see anything.
we can't see it. Yeah,
and then they spin you around, so you go in the middle of a pit stop. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's
You
so
did that
clever.
But that's it. Now, of course, breaking news as well is that Perez is to stay at Red Bull and Carlos Sainz is going to Williams. He's just signed for Williams.
Yeah, we knew that. We knew that was going to happen.
I'm quite surprised.
But why would they sign Perez again?
Well, seemingly he already had a contract, about a month ago.
Yeah.
And ever since he got it, he's been terrible. He's had no luck at all, and he's barely, he's barely qualified into the top 10.
There was a clip I saw on Instagram where after the race, Danny Ricciardo and Max Verstappen took off in Max's helicopter together. The quote was, "That doesn't look good for for Sergio." But
I do wonder if they'll bring Ricciardo back.
That was the rumor. They were going to, at least he knows the team.
Do you think Ricciardo still has it though?
No,
I don't think so either. I like the guy. He's a good personality, but I think that's the only thing that's keeping him in the paddock right now.
He's not as slow as Perez is compared. If you look how he performed in the sister car, in the sister team, he did a better job than Perez did. So I think that's what they just need, someone that's close enough to Max to be able to back him up a bit. Whereas at the moment, Perez is. Well, I'm pretty sure I saw one of the, that they got that go-kart track on the side. I'm pretty sure one of them overtook Perez.
Poor thing, he's really had no run of luck ever since he's signed his contract. That was it.
What happened to Ricciardo, Greasy? I'm interested to hear your opinion of why he suddenly went boink. Because he was super fast. He used to.
Yeah,
he's my reason.
I think it was a bunch of bad decisions on his part, to be honest. Just switching teams at wrong time, going to Lotus, then not being happy. Just didn't settle enough anywhere to really get implanted in. Where he just kind of, I don't like this. No, I don't like that. And then eventually ran out of places.
He couldn't handle the McLaren. I mean, that McLaren, he just suddenly is like, I just can't drive anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, he went to McLaren, didn't he? And then he went to Renault, or was that the way around?
Renault, McLaren.
Yeah, and he struggled there.
Yeah. No, he performed well in Renault. He was really good in Renault.
Yeah.
And then he went
McLaren.
To
He couldn't get.
And then he went to McLaren, and Norris just showed him up.
Yeah,
just like he showed up Vettel back in the day.
Piastri's looking really good.
He's looking ominously good, actually.
I was watching the end. Where they do the little trophy room at the end where you can hear them talking?
Oh, yeah.
That was the most awkward silence I've ever heard between Piastri and Lewis Hamilton. They're just kind of sitting there watching TV. But
he seems to be making the most of it. But,
Well, yeah. So what we got?
No, we've got Kiwi. Kiwi is here.
Is Kiwi in here?
And he's got a message for you, Greasy. He's saying he's not happy with you. He's saying you keep putting him at the back of his grid in your lobbies.
Yeah, I do, because he's too damn fast. He keeps picking that Alpha 155 and he's gone.
But he did a very good time in race A. But for once I'm almost there. I've done a 50.4, and I think he's a 50.7.
See, that's not fair. One of the best views of the 155 is its beautiful backside bum.
Yeah, I do.
What a nice arse. I mean, I like a nice arse, and that has got one.
Anytime we pick GR4s for the Friday Fun Factory, that's Kiwi's go-to for sure.
Yeah, Alpha 155 is a great thing.
I don't have that pace that he's got in that thing. He's quick.
there's a channel called 19 Bozzy 94. And he's this Italian, I think he's Italian fella, that he does videos. He just goes to places like Goodwood Festival of Speed and Imola and Monza and just films them driving various incredible cars around. But he does a particularly good job of the sound.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that you get a really high quality sound. And one of the first videos I watched of his was the old 155 World Touring car.
Yeah.
That would sound good.
God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. I heard they got rid of the donuts at Goodwood. I just read something the other day that they do the turnaround. They're not allowed to do their donuts anymore.
Oh, they used to tell them off anyway. I mean, they were
taking pictures of people and doing the pee-pee slap.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's true or not. It's just something I read.
Fun police. Oh, they've been doing that for years. They told when Button went up there and he did a few donuts and the fun police came in. You're not allowed to do that, you know. I'm a part-time traffic warden.
Well, my father had a 155, but it was a 2-litre twin spark from 1997.
Excellent engine.
And it was a great car.
Nothing wrong with that engine.
Its steering was amazing because it was literally 1.5 turns lock to lock. And when you're 22 years old and your father says, can you take your car and can you wash it for me? He's going on holiday. Mum and Dad are away on holiday. And I said, yes, of course, I'll have it washed for you when you get back. And it wasn't washed because it was in the winter time and it was about minus odd. And there were no car washes that were open. And so by the time he got back, it was even dirtier than when he had left it. It was covered in mud and all sorts because I'd taken it everywhere. But
that's what I always used to do when my parents left. I'd take my dad's cars all the time.
And
he was smart enough to not get anything really fun, though.
Yeah, what he hadn't told me was that there was a slight crack in the exhaust. So this thing sounded even better. So I raced around the Leith in Edinburgh with my friends in this Alpha, and it had so many lights. You'd come up to the Leith Walk has all these lights and every big sections, and so you'd come up to that, wait on the red light, and I used to take this thing and bang it off the rev limiter when the light was on red, and as it left to green, off I went. Oh, and the sound was just fantastic. You won't get that anymore. But no, it was.
I've been in one. It was a 1.8 twin spark.
Yeah, they were good too because they were still light.
No, it wasn't a 155. It was a 75. Sorry, a 75.
All right, yeah.
What it was is that many years ago in 1991, one of the people that I worked with in Bangor Uni, Italian, Giuseppe Zagotto, his sister came to visit. Oh, he's a proper Italian as well. Yeah. He's such a lovely bloke. He had a Citroen BX11, which you couldn't get in Britain. The smallest engined one they did was the 14 or 1.4. This is a 1.1 litre, relatively big car. He used to get 60 miles to the UK gallon.
It was made out of plastic, wasn't it? Fiberglass.
Yeah, the plastic bonnet, which used to fade in the sunlight. He drove it from northern Italy to North Wales to come.
My goodness.
And it was like an exchange thing, and he was a lecturer in Padova University. So his sister came to visit, sister and brother-in-law with their kid, and they wanted to go to Chester for the day. So they said, would I like to go along? He said, yeah, absolutely. So he knew I liked cars, so he plunked me in with the brother-in-law in this Alpha 75 with the son in the back translating because he wanted to practice his English. It's great. And this fella, he just every now and again, he'd put it in a gear, the A55, just for me. It just,
Did the Alpha 75 not have terrible brakes? I'm sure the 75 had really bad brakes.
Leg room in the front because everybody knows if you're driving an Italian car, you need to have
short
1 foot long legs and arms at 16 feet long. You basically got to be a chimpanzee or a gorilla. It's a well-known fact. It's like, but I didn't care. I was in heaven. What's in heaven? There's a lot better than the 1.6 litre Cavalier diesel I had.
that sounded
50 horsepower.
Well, my fun car is being rebuilt right now. I started tearing apart I have a Volkswagen Jetta wagon 2003, but with the 1.8 T. And I decided at 300,000 to tear the engine apart. So the cylinder head is not on the block yet, but I've got about 8,000 already. It's good and built for about 650 horsepower from a 4-cylinder, but I won't be running that much. But since my hands went crappy on me, I can't do the work on it as much as I want to now. So it's been sitting there. It's collecting dust.
My goodness. They were. See, I think, we've often talked about kind of peak car timing, wasn't it? But in the 2000s, cars really improved. And I think maybe it was the 2010s that we got some great cars. Although I think some of these BMW 5 Series, like the one that was was it from 1988 or 1998? They started to get really, really good. It was almost hard to think, how would you make a better car? Like a 3 Series 330 diesel touring.
I love those late 90s BMWs and things like that.
Yeah, they were nice.
Cars.
They
actually saw one pop up on Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy selling one, an M5. I think it was a 97, if I remember correctly. And the guy still wants 15 grand for it.
Yeah.
Not surprised. So, proper cars, you see.
Yeah.
Before they decided, what can we do to load these things up? I mean, the modern idea of a Superleggera is it only weighs 2,000 kilos. It's like, I remember that they made this massive 6.1 litre V12 monster that could do 241 mile an hour, and it weighed 1,300 kilos. And the same fella's now made a new one, which also has a V12 in the back, and it weighs 951.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's scary.
But apparently, you know, if you get a Porsche, it's got to be at least 1,700 kilos now. But it's got, as you say, 700 horsepower and some flappy paddle gearbox. And he goes, but they all sound awful.
My uncle is a big Porsche guy. I got to go through the footage on it. There's a big Porsche car show here. He's got I can't remember what year it is, but a Carrera 4S, but it's a really rare one. He got it with the manual transmission. One of the few he had to order it specially in like that. And it's a pretty neat looking car. I love my Porsches, but everybody that I've talked to that's like run them, they say they're boring cars. And I say, I don't think you're driving it hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the latest ones look really nice. And I was never a 911 fan, to be honest. But the latest ones, I love the back of it. They just look so nice at the back.
Oh, they had the Cayman GT4 RS there. That was a nice looking car.
They are a lot. They have got some. It's a nice design. But we did have to see how things go, because we hope as a lot of us are car fans, we want to make sure that that there's still life in great cars, aren't they? Because all the like the hot hatches that Renault used to make, like the Megane 280s and the RS cars, which were great fun. I remember driving Megane hot hatches quite a lot at kind of company car days, and they were so much fun. But now Renault's pretty much abandoned that because it's gone to the EV. Although it has got the new Renault 5, and there's been an Alpine version of that they've done. But no, it's kind of, because in a lot of famous car manufacturers that were very good for their like M series, it's BMW with M series, there's Mercedes with their AMG cars. But now it's kind of all that's been because it's spent so much money on EVs that all of the kind of petrol stuff's gone, or the really nice kind of hot hatches and performance cars have been really limited. And I just hope that in the next year or two we will see a reversal once they can get this EV nonsense out the way, and we can actually get back to having some proper cars again. Then maybe they can recover and start making cars that we actually want to drive.
I agree. Change the focus from these electric vehicles. Let's just get away from them.
Paul's mentioned one of my old favourites. It's another car I've actually been in, the Lotus Carlton.
Oh, yeah.
What a monster. So they took the straight six engine that I mentioned earlier in the Vauxhall Senator, which was the same chassis, but that was a sort of the luxury version, and the Carlton was a slightly smaller car. And they, at the Opel factory in Germany, they bored the engine out to 3.6 litres. They put the Lotus charge cooler on it and big turbos, and it produced at the time the third highest torque rating of any car in the world, any production car in the world. And the two that had more were the Ferrari F40 and the Lamborghini Diablo. And this was a four-door saloon car.
Yeah.
It was
limited
that's
what I like. I like the big, like the wagons or the Avants, whatever you want to call them. But you can throw a dog in the back with your kids, and you still like. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd be going to buy an Audi RS6 wagon right now.
Let's get a picture.
Right now.
Now we've got a question for you. German Kiwi has said, Greasy, when are you coming to Germany? You could drive my car on the Autobahn.
Oh, when I get a real job and stop doing YouTube and can afford to travel. Yeah, that's about it. One day, Kiwi. One day, you got to take me to Nürburgring too.
Because Kiwi was a racing driver too. He often says he gave us some very good advice on how to do overlay and trail braking a couple of weeks ago when we had that on the show.
He just did the supercarts. Was that the Hungaroring you went to, Kiwi? Something like that.
Wow.
He went to do the stupid fast carts. I love my go-karts. I've got some videos up on my channel of the last go-kart races I've done. I'm 9 times undefeated in the city here.
Oh, that's pretty good. That was a Lotus Carlton. That was a great car.
377. I mean, we're talking 1990 when this car came out. So the crazy figures we got now didn't exist. This was before even the XJ220. Well, the XJ220, I think, came out after this. And it had the highest output of any car, any production car. That was 550 horsepower.
We never had those things here. Never had anything like that here.
In Europe, they were called the Lotus Omega because it was the Carlton was called the Omega over there. In Britain, it was the Carlton. Rear-wheel drive, really good chassis on them. Very, very nice chassis on them. So, like I say, so much torque and 377 brake horsepower, limited to 155 mile an hour, 6-speed ZF gearbox, and they cost 50 grand. Brand new,
which actually was pretty good in those
expensive
days.
back then.
You know? Yeah, I mean it was expensive, but it was a lot of car for the money.
Yeah,
I mean that now must be worth goodness knows how much they'll go for.
Consider the performance of it.
Yeah,
the performance. Well, I mean, how much Lotus Carlton? how much they're going for?
Let's see. We're live, as you can see.
Okay, prices start around 80,000 and can reach upwards of 100,000 for.
I thought it was more than that. To be fair,
I thought it'd be more than that. Actually,
yeah.
Are they pretty rare over there? Or?
Yeah, they only made 1,000 of them. They were limited.
Yeah.
They only made. There were. Lotus had a history of making modified cars by other people. You know, so there was the Lotus Cortina, the famous Lotus, was it Mark 1 or Mark 2 Cortina, which
Tim Clark used to race.
Tim Clark used to drive and all this kind of stuff. Then there was the Lotus Sunbeam, which had you'll know the Sunbeam in America. What was it called over there?
It was a Chrysler. Was it not a Chrysler in America?
It was a Chrysler. It was a Chrysler.
I remember seeing
really ugly
here,
car.
But,
So we had it as the Sunbeam, or the Horizon was a front wheel drive one. The Sunbeam was rear wheel drive.
I remember hearing Sunbeam, and that like rings a bell.
Chevette. You heard of Chevy Chevette? It's like the successor to the Chevy Chevette.
Yeah, it had that little hatchback.
Ugly square. When I was living in Germany, one of the American base people that I knew, he had one automatic 2.2. Well, Lotus did a rally car version of it with the 2.2 engine in it, and then this was their third one that they did, where they were owned by General Motors at this point, as is Vauxhall Opel and all them kind of people. So they got them in. They're the ones that designed the LT5 engine. I keep getting these. You know the really powerful Corvette engine, the one with 32 valves, all alloy, all that kind of stuff, appeared. Yeah. That was a Lotus designed engine.
Yeah.
Is it the LT?
I have no idea.
L5. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but that was a superb engine as well, which has since been modified and cheapened, and now not so good.
So, can I digress back to Formula One? So we can go ahead.
I thought we dealt with that. Russell won, and then he didn't.
Yes, but it was quite good. I mean, to be fair, now that we're at the break, it is turning out to be a very good season. From what was at the start, utterly dog. Well, it looked like Verstappen was just going to walk away with it. But now, if he hasn't won for quite a few races,
and now the Mercedes pants when he's not winning.
Yeah, and the Mercedes of all cars is now right up there, and there's Hamilton inheriting another win. But I mean, and to be fair, Hamilton did do a very good job yesterday. I was quite pleased to see him right up there and being able to overtake. It was great to see him. He did a great move on Leclerc, to get up there. And he didn't quite have enough against Russell in the end. But then, of course, when he got disqualified, he got it anyway. But no, did you enjoy watching the race yesterday, Gracie?
I did enjoy watching. I watched the first little bit of it, then I had a nap for the middle of it, and then I woke up for the end of it. It was perfect.
All right. Because one of the shortest races, isn't it? It's like literally an hour and 20 minutes.
It was a really quick one. That's right. Yeah. It was a good race, so I love watching that track, though. It's one thing for me, when I watch Formula One, I'm not really cheering for one driver. I just want to see some good on-track battles. I don't care if it's for the back of the pack, the front. I just want to see some good racing.
Exactly.
We've missed that for so long with Formula One. Growing up from the Michael Schumacher days for me, watching those guys go toe-to-toe like that, it's a lot different.
Do you find there's this fixation on overtaking? I mean, they don't care why the overtaking is happening. They don't seem to have any understanding that racing is not about one car going past another. It's the whole skill of getting past,
setting up the pass, being able to go side by side through the corners. That's the whole thing with the downforce on the things in the dirty air.
there's no overtaking. I said, I remember watching when Schumacher, he retired and then came back for Mercedes. And I remember there was this one Monaco Grand Prix, and the Merc was not anywhere near the fast. It was kind of a midfield car.
Yeah. That's the one he qualified on pole, wasn't he?
Yeah, Monaco. Yeah, he did that at Monaco, wasn't it?
And even though his car was so much slower than anybody else, I know Monaco's hard to overtake anyway, but I think it was Alonso. He was just so hard to overtake. He did the same at Monza as well. Do you remember, to Hamilton? Hamilton just could not get past him.
Yeah,
because he was so canny in where to place his car. He wasn't knocking people off like the old Schumacher. He was just placing his car in such a way that it made it really hard to get past.
Well, they were questioning it when the stewards were questioning it at Monza because I think he moved in the braking zone, or they're not allowed to. But in those days, but it was still great racing, and Hamilton was over the moon at challenging Schumacher and having a proper race with him.
The old Hamilton, before he started getting dreads and going on private jets with people and moaning at people using, gas and stuff. And his hometown being racist because they were nice to him for his entire life. Before he became that guy, he used to be. He loved racing, didn't he? He wanted to win, but he actually liked that battle. He kind of learned. He got that when McLaren sort of like went a bit when he was alongside Button. He learned so much, and he got his mojo back. And I think that really helped him become the much better driver he was when he went to Mercedes, because he learned. There's more to this than just winning, which is something Verstappen hasn't quite got yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what ruined his rookie year. Remember, it literally ruined Hamilton's rookie year. He would have been the first rookie world champion had he just had a bit of patience, dialed it back a bit.
That's patience is key. You got to know when to chuck it in there and when not to. When to just be like, probably not the best of ideas to do this, but sometimes people go for it. It's just their personality, right? It's like Max when he sees a hole and he's a half a second back, just sends it. Did you see? Was it Nico Rosberg's comment about it?
What did he say?
I think he made it. Oh, what was the quote he said? He's like, I don't know if Max has seen a TV yet, but he would have understood if he did that there was a corner there, and that's why Lewis Hamilton was turning in. Rosberg's a savage now.
It's ironic coming from Rosberg because those two crashed into each other so often. It was
but Jacques Villeneuve, I remember it was in Canada. Jacques Villeneuve, he came out with a really sciting attack on Ricardo.
Yeah, we love Jacques.
I mean, saying he's past his best and he's just there for publicity and everything. And the Sky News presenters didn't really know what to say. In response, they kind of went quiet. It was quite funny that to kind of move on.
He's a box of balls. He really is. He's completely insane, that man. And we've talked about this before. I still remember, and Simon will tell us which one it was at. There was one when it was in BAR with Zonda.
Oh yes, and it was at Belgium. Zonda, yeah.
Is it? And they're going. They went round Eau Rouge, the left-hander, up Radion, not the corner at the top, and they get to the corner at the top. Of course, in those days you couldn't go flat, and so he's like, and these things spinning. And then Zonda did the same. And he was interviewed after, because I think I span 10 times. It's amazing. You need to get Greasy to say it so he's got the right accent. But it's just, he used to sort of rate his crashes out of 10.
Yeah, I remember him doing that too. Yeah, that's a weird thing for me too. I've always wanted to experience what a race car crash would feel like full safety gear. I've always wanted to kind of just experience that. But everybody says
make sure you put your hands
saying that.
So you don't snap your neck. You see these older videos of people like at Monaco and something, and they practically see the head do that, and you're like, oh, the neck, no.
Yeah,
it's right.
I've been hit a few times in the go-karts where it rattles me pretty good. I had the 2 races ago. I had one guy who was coming out of. They have a Joker lane for our event, so I took the Joker lane, and it's right on a hairpin. This guy's coming in like this. It's in one of my videos, and he looks at me and just keeps his foot into it and just bang, and my whole cart came like 2.5 feet off the ground, the front end, and bang,
goodness,
back down, bruises all over my.
Because you'll feel that because it's such a flat car, isn't it? And you're on the ground. There's nothing to protect you with that.
Yeah, these carts that we run, they're all electric ones. But the last event that we were at, the track they're on is a multi-level one, and I was catching air in the carts. You've watched the last video, you can hear the air leave my body when I hit the ground. It's just like.
Because to be fair, in fact, now that we've done our F1, it'd be good to see how you started, Greasy, and how you started your channel and what you do, and to find out how you started doing go-karting, and then now that you're a gamer with nearly 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. So how did it start?
It all the go-karting started. We had a go-kart place open up here called Speeders. They're electric go-karts. And they opened up, it's got to be like 13, 14 years ago now. And we went for a work event. And I cleaned up the work event. And they had a top 100 time list. And I was like, I think I placed 30th in my first time there. I was like, I can get number one. So I went for number one. And I started holding it. And I think you ask anybody, they'll say that Greasy's been the champ at Speeders forever now. But I've been playing Gran Turismo for a long, long time, but the only way I got into the streaming was because of my thumb surgeries. I had 2 thumb surgeries that kind of just left me down. I had downtime, not at work, can't go back to being a mechanic. So I was like, maybe I'll start doing some live streaming, and that led to a better camera and then a better microphone and then drywalling all of this and making this down.
Yeah, no, it looks amazing. It looks really good.
I'm in an unfinished basement. This is just a corner. The whole other side of my basement is all unfinished.
So how long have you been streaming for?
Studios, isn't it? They're all like that, aren't they? They got the backdrop, and then everything else just open space. And
that's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. Over there's a kid. Well, I built the kids a rig actually. The other day, and we got that working for them this last week, so they've been having fun with that. So there's a kids rig over there now too.
Yeah. And so how long have you been streaming for?
I think I've had the YouTube channel for a while, but I never took it seriously until like the last 2 years. I want to say year and a half. Because 2 years ago, I would have called myself computer illiterate. I honestly don't know how I got a stream working with everything.
I think
neither does working the way it is, but I'm terrible with it. But I watched a lot of YouTube videos, figured it out, and people started hanging out. So it's pretty good. I don't know. I like it. It's pretty cool having people tune in all the time from different places all around the world. It's pretty neat.
Because you stream a few times a week, don't you? You're quite regular.
Yeah, I try and do the mornings for me. I'm usually on 9:30 a.m. my time, and I go till about 12:30, 1 o'clock, whether I have the kids or not. But yeah, I try and get on Monday to Friday. Mondays are tough for me because it's a transfer day with kids, so it's usually Tuesday to Friday that I do in manufacturers races if they're on. I couldn't do Saturday's manu race because I had to fix my stupid car. We had 2 weeks of plus 38 degrees here, and it killed the battery in the car, so I had to do a bunch of maintenance on the real car instead of playing video games. So,
well, I know it was Kiwi that introduced me to you, and so you got to get Greasy on the channel. So it's fantastic to be able to. It's lovely to see how everyone's channels grow. It grows in different ways, and the communities that are built up from that.
That's the beauty of Gran Turismo. The Gran Turismo community. There is no other game out there that has this kind of community. No other game. Just look at very strange people. We're all a little bit. We all need help a little bit.
Two people from Norfolk, and they've got Ian, and we got Simon, and they're from Norfolk, and we know what that means, don't we?
Well, I made a statement, and I still stand by it. I'm not paying for any therapy for any one of my viewers. So that was the one. They can pay their own therapy bills.
I'm only joking, lads. Don't send the Lotus Canaries after me, please.
But no, it's quite something. So is it all mainly GT7 that you play, or do you do anything else?
Yeah, it's just been GT7 that I've been playing. I have a few people trying to push me towards ACC, but I'm old school and I don't want to download the game. I actually want the copy.
All right, physical one.
I want it, but I like the fact that Gran Turismo, you could just jump in. You don't have to worry about setups or anything like that. Like iRacing, you're going to put like a half hour, 40 minutes of setups and time in before you even get into a race, I would assume. Yeah. And ACC, I've heard you have to do setups and things like that. And I'm just a Gran Turismo diehard. I remember coming over, my buddy's older brother, came home to his house when I was 17 with Gran Turismo 1. and a PlayStation. I remember that opening screen, and it was just like hook, line, sinker. I'm stuck forever.
Yeah.
I do. I'm a sucker for Gran Turismo, though. I do love it.
It's so nice. Yeah, just driving. I find now that I get more enjoyment.
I'd just like to quick comment. Not everyone can jump into a Gran Turismo car and not have to do setup. Some people have to worry about setup, or they can't get round the first corner.
The thing with me with the Gran Turismo, I'm one of the lower percentages that just do the online stuff. I don't do a lot of the in-game stuff. I did the in-game stuff to get where I needed to do to get online and things like that.
I just got so sick and tired. I tried it. I mean, I'm like, I'm not qualifying. I'm going to stay at the back. I'm just going to follow everybody around, get used to all this kind of stuff. And somebody would, you see the first... It was like the only Grand Prix I've ever watched, but the Formula 3 racing, where the first half of the race was people smashing into each other and going, you know, and I'm watching them all going, well, I'm glad I'm not anywhere near that lot. But of course, they end up behind you. Yeah. And even though I'm going slow, just trying to learn my lines and all this kind of stuff, they still somehow manage to smash me off the road.
It still happens in the top split levels too.
I've been watching like Digit and you know, Rory Alexander's quite quick, and Kirith and all that. They're all quick people, and this idiot here, they're all quite quick people, but you just... I don't know what mental problems people seem to have. Where it's like, or they're all four, you know, Banzai, I kill you.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with it. Once you get higher, like going through when I've started new accounts and going through the ranks, like that's pretty fun when you start going from the back in those lobbies, because you can almost predict who's gonna do what.
Yeah, you can see
that around them. It's when you get to that upper level of BA, that's when you get people that know what they're doing and kind of don't know what they're doing. That was like go-karting for me. Those were always the hardest people to pass, were the ones that kind of knew what they were doing, stayed in the middle of the track, kind of knew the apexes, but they're earlier on the brakes, later on the throttle, but there's just no way to get around them because they're just in the middle of the track the whole time.
Yeah.
Even in top split, though, you get hammered out. There was one race in Nürburgring in the last manufacturers before this whole update or whatever. Okay. We were on the outlap for qualifying, and some other driver just punted me off the track in the outlap for qualifying. Like, really? Like, it happens.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
I can't take it too seriously. That's, you know,
I find if I try to do the late braking thing, you know, in your mind, like you're saying, that patience thing, I'm not very patient. So it's like, I've got to go faster. So you think, and Hugh's the same, but he's just got a lot more skill of trying to grasp that extra few feet to go quicker around the corner, and then you come off. So I deliberately sort of went, right, I'm going to take it easier, brake carefully, and then build up to it. And then and this would happen in community races. I got, and I can do the accent if you want. It goes, Indy, this is not a parkplatz. You know, it's like, no, it's a corner, and I'm here. So it doesn't matter how slow I'm going, please don't hit me.
Yeah, well, if you're behind,
but they're not expecting it. That you're in a race, they're expecting you to go as fast as they are. Well,
yeah. Well, there was last week's daily. I got into the back of Key because he was playing it too safe. Road Atlanta going through the S's, where you get to that left where everybody kind of goes off. There was 3 wide in front, and I was getting pretty close to him, and he let off because I watched his stream back. He's like, "Oh, I'm staying out of this." He let off just as he let off. I was just about getting ready to hit my brakes, give him a little punch from behind. Sorry, Key.
Now, we've got a good question for you, Greasy, from Sedgy Racing. He says, I can't seem to get into A racing. Any tips for making the leap into the big leagues?
Ooh, getting into A racing, just keep practicing. When you find a daily that you can really dominate on and set a good qualifying time on, get into those ones. If you're getting into dailies you don't feel so confident about, stay away, make it a second account, do something else. Because I never race my main account on the dailies. Never. I leave that one strictly for manufacturers and the GTWS and all those kind of things. I run my secondary account. I went through it, was able to get it up to the A. It's a little easy. I don't know. I've never had a hard time getting to A or A+ or anything like that. I know it's difficult for some, but it's just practice. That's what I tell everybody. It's all about practice. And slow down to go faster, if that makes sense. Break that little bit earlier, let that car rotate that little bit more, and get on that throttle. Because that's what really helped.
Stewart actually talks about that in interviews and in his book.
Go slower to go faster. Yeah,
he was driving, and I think it was Monza. I'm going to say it was Monza. It might not be, but I think it was Monza. He was driving the BRM with Graham Hill, and they were way out in front. And they got the pit board saying, you're way out in front, slow down, look after the car. So they did. He was being more gentle on the throttle. He was braking a little bit earlier. He was doing it, and they were going faster and faster and faster. And the team manager was jumping up and down because he thought they were racing each other. They weren't. They literally just smoothed everything down.
Yeah. That's my life story in this game. When I get out in front and I have people chasing me, I start overdriving. I start doing dumb things. When I'm behind somebody, you brake that little bit earlier because you don't want to check up to them, and everything just works better when I'm behind somebody. But
you've also got that focus as well, haven't you? You got something to focus on. It's so hard to lead.
Well, you watch my stream back. Watch my stream back and watch my daily race streams. And then watch one of my manu races. I'm a totally different person. It's like joking around. I'm trying to read chat while I'm driving, crashing into stuff to like, there's no chat here whatsoever.
I'm racing now.
Yeah, you have to really, isn't it? You have to concentrate to be able to do it right. I remember Flash Dagger saying that as well, that he really struggled to do the time trial so much when people were watching. But when he does it on his own, he doesn't. It is a distraction.
Trials now. I haven't done those time trials in a long time. Usually when I'm on here, I'm streaming it.
Sure, I race with no pants and no skids, and that was
peel yourself off your chair after you can hear that almost.
Oh, you heard that here first.
Darling.
I'll say we're not responsible for any injuries after playing. Advice is purely taken at your own risk. But
the views expressed in the chat of the Hugh Hatrick show do not necessarily represent the views of the Hugh Hatrick organisation.
Oh, that's the thing. So so what's been your biggest achievement, you think, Greasy, in your racing, certainly on GT7? What's been your most fun
I have my biggest one is also my most controversial thing, probably in Gran Turismo. Not a lot of people know about it. My viewers know about it for sure, but last Gran Turismo World Series, where they were taking 3 drivers for each manufacturer, I was second for Porsche in the Americas.
Wow.
In Astroza, the number 1 driver in the Americas got hit by a drunk driver and broke his leg. Good. That's why there was only 2 drivers for Porsche at the World Series. They, in the rules, state that the second place driver will be brought up. I didn't get any letters from them. They basically didn't follow their own rules because I should have been the next person to go to the World Series to drive for Porsche. And that's why they kept it at 2 when the Japanese driver couldn't come for the final one in Spain or wherever it was. Yeah. So that was my biggest thing. I finished second in manufacturers report in the Americas. That was my thing. I was this close to making it there. It was the Amsterdam event. That's what it was, the Amsterdam event.
That is something. Yeah, no, it's
so we don't follow their rules.
Because we've had a few World Tour drivers on the show. We've had Mikel Hizal, we've had Valerio Gallo as well. He's been on.
I would have got my butt kick going there, but I would have gone anyway. I don't care. I think I would have done just fine in the middle stint in the rain on the Nürburgring because I love the Nürburgring and I love racing in the rain. I think I would have done just fine in that event, but there are haters out there that say I didn't belong, and I probably don't belong, but I did finish second in the Americas.
That's pretty good going. You're going to finish second in the Americas. You're going to be
exactly it. I wouldn't turn that down even if I got my butt kicked. But it's a tight little family they got going on over there, and it's not easily penetrated. That's for sure.
Sorry, but I still, I really like Valerio Gallo, but I'm still upset with him. I'm upset with Hatrick for the same reason.
When we had him on, that
all I wanted was him to say, "Peter, stop." That's all I wanted. It's like, one day we're going to get Alonso on this show, and he doesn't say Peter stop anymore. He says pit stop. He's changed it. How dare he? That was one of the best things, apart from him being a great driver and those eyebrows this big.
That's the thing.
That's the sweatband.
He plucks that middle bit.
Oh, that's it. Well, look, we've been going for an hour and a half, and I'm going to have to kind of bring it on to a close.
Quick question then: what happened to Norris this weekend? Because
Yes,
the first corner, I think the reason he came off and went on the gravel on the first corner is he was being super, super careful.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
Trying not to hit Piastri.
He said he was being extra cautious, probably too cautious, and he got high centered on the red and whites that put him back, and he said it was a stupid mistake. Actually, he even said it was an embarrassment on his part to make that mistake, and that was it for him at that point. I think his race was.
I mean, you could tell that Piastri's got a bit of confidence. He's had a bit of extra.
He is.
I think the race previous where they made them swap spots, I think that deflated Norris a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake.
I don't know. If I was Norris, I probably wouldn't have let him by.
Because Norris has only got one win himself, you see.
Yeah,
Norris has got one win himself.
It's like, how many has he been so close to getting and getting just pulled away?
That one in the rain, was it?
Give your top guy the win. Give your top guy the win. Make him happy.
Russia, was it?
Yeah, it was Russia.
Yeah, it was Russia.
It doesn't make sense because he was closer to Max Verstappen. If he'd given him the win, that would have been he would have been in there. He would have been taking points off him, and now he's still losing points.
7 points difference.
You know, that could be crucial.
That's the whole thing. I understand is Max was closer. Lando was closer to Max in the championship. Why wouldn't you give those points to?
I don't know.
That whole thing was really strange to me. Maybe Piastri's PR team dropped a few millions of dollars extra for advertisement
or some kind of thing, isn't it? And improved their investments. Now MS Rules has said, please say hello to Greasy for me. So
Maple Syrup Rules, you know that's Kiwi, right? I'm ratting you out, Kiwi. Kiwi trolled me with this account. I was racing. He's like, I met this guy. You should invite him in. Da 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 da. We get into the Friday Fun Factory, and he's being all polite, and he's like, can you start me near the front? I'm new. Da 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 da. Yeah, I'll start you near the front. No problem. Boom, gone. It's Kiwi messing with me the whole time. You son of a sandwich.
I always feel like there's a sort of a spiritual connection between Canada and New Zealand because both of you have accents that are related to and kind of similar to the more famous accents of another country nearby, but not at all. In fact,
see, most people say I don't sound like a Canadian because I don't say a.
Well, you've said out a few times. I see every time I do it, I end up sounding Scottish. You've said a few things that are, but I like accents, but I can't do them. To my head, I just sound like I'm doing a really bad Scottish accent. But it makes sense to me because I was watching. What's that guy? Went around the world on motorbikes with Ewan McGregor. Not that pillock. Charlie Borman. He did a series of travel shows after Long Way Round.
Yeah.
And he went across Canada on a bike, and he went talking to people. He was going east to west, and you could hear the change in the accent going across the country. I love that. I think that's fantastic. Because
the only accent I usually do on stream is the Bubbles accent.
Bubbles?
You guys don't know. If you haven't seen it yet, go look up Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, I know Trailer Park Boys. I know Trailer Park Boys because the best band in the world ever.
Rush.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. They're big on that one. They're big on that one.
So am I.
Love playing Rush.
Helen used to like all sorts of music, and I've sport it all for her because I play her Rush, and she's like,
yeah. If you watch Trailer Park Boys, you'll understand my channel a little bit more. This
is a bit of a challenge. Go onto YouTube. I'll stop in a second, Hugh. But you go onto YouTube. Everybody knows all of my liveries have Rush on them and all this kind of stuff because they're the best. And you type in reaction videos. The best ones is when they're reacting to something live, like Rush in Rio or something like this. And I call it the Rush face, and it goes something like this. It's like Spirit of the Radio or something. I like that, and then they'll change key 4 times.
Well, they came on the show and everything. Their whole band came on the show and all that.
Didn't they kidnap? They kidnapped
Alex. They kidnapped him.
They kidnapped Alex Dyson and they tied him up.
About that one.
Yeah, it's like, so the Rush race, and then they always end up like this. And then they go, how many people are in this band? And then the Rush Army gets in the chat and explains everything to them. There are 3 of them. No, they don't have a backing track. Yes, they are the greatest rock musicians ever. Thank you very much.
Well, there we go. On that bombshell, we'll have to end the show.
Right on. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad I could pop in here and
Yeah, it's been fantastic to have you, and you're welcome anytime. Hopefully, we'll get Simon Jerry on very soon, and Neil, I think, might be back next week as well.
Get Simon on.
But yeah, no, that would be good. It's just great fun. We enjoy the chat. We have a good laugh about Formula One and about GT7 and all the craziness that's going on about all of that. But no, thank you very much to everyone who's been watching tonight, or when you've been listening on Podbean, whether you've been watching on Twitter or Facebook. It's been great to have you along. And to our very special guest, Greasy, all the way from Canada, it's been fantastic to have you on the show. And of course, Edward Bear, or Andrew Marr, as we call him.
Winnie the Pooh.
You're always welcome too.
Simon understood it. Edward Bear.
Exactly.
Was the correct name for Winnie the Pooh.
Well, there you go. And on that note, we'll end the show. Stay on the line for a wee second. But thanks very much, everyone. Great to see you and have a wonderful week's racing. And drive fast, but drive your bus even faster. Bye just now.
Nighty night.